What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So first and foremost, thank you Patreons. I will get the runner at the bottom of the screen updated with the few who have joined recently. We just had our Ursula giveaway on our short live stream yesterday, and we announced the next giveaway. We are going big with this one with an enchanted rare Tinkerbell from the first chapter. All that Patreon information is down below, and we're getting closer to 4,000 subscribers, so we're going to be doing a really big giveaway on the channel for subscribers. Nothing fancy. All you will have to do is comment on a specific video once I get all the details worked out. So make sure you stick around for that. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. What deck is the deck to beat in Chicago? Well, we just saw this deck take down the pack's most recent and final Pixelborn tournament. It's picked by many, myself included, to be the best deck of the format. We saw Mushu Monday. It sweep the entire top 8. Bucky discard, I think, is here to stay. However, there may be another deck in play that may come up and surprise people in Chicago, or maybe it won't surprise people because a lot of people are probably going to be playing on it. So we're going first here. Just kind of testing a few different things. We're against tempo more than likely. So against tempo, I felt like the matchup's pretty good. Like, we're gonna go after their hand. I'm like, we go Pegasus 1, Bucky 2, then Diablo 3, Shift Pegasus 4, or we can go Shift Pegasus 3 if we want. We kind of have some flexibility here. I wasn't too worried about the Ursula, but I did consider keeping her. Aladdin, probably not going to do a whole lot here. Robin Hood, I didn't want to have to hope we hit the shift target. So we get rid of the strength, throw down our evasive, and then our opponent gets rid of a castle, comes down with his own evasive. We draw into another Diablo. So here I'm like, okay, we can go ahead. We'll throw down Bucky. Not do anything because I don't want our opponent to just crash with us, even though we do have double Diablo for the Bucky comeback plays if we need to. He comes down with another Pegasus, waiting to see. Don't forget to ink. They don't, so they go crab to the ink. Double Pegasus I was okay with. I was testing a lot of different things. Diablo, the small word, did not make it into my final list personally. Not that I necessarily think it's a bad card. I think it's actually pretty good, and it works really well with Bucky to be able to make them discard on, say, turn 2. However, at the end of the day, it just did not make it into my final list. We shift Pegasus, take out his exerted Pegasus. The Bucky also goes after a card in his hand. Now the next turn we can say, well, they shift Pegasus too, so are they going to crash? If they crash, I'm okay with that. Instead, they sing Friends. They get 2 more cards to their hand. We actually hit another Bucky, so I'm going to go that route. We're going to go Bucky again. We're going to crash. Put them on 4. They're probably going to ink a card, play a card, have 3 in hand. They do come down with the Ursula, which does hit our song, so they're actually able to play 2 cards. So we go Diablo, which is going to trigger Bucky twice, and effectively remove our opponent's hand. They get rid of their own Diablo and a Merfolk, which I thought was a bit interesting. Why you'd get rid of the Diablo. Like, the other card's got to be pretty good, or in that case is another Diablo. So play Diablo, ink the singing Ursula. Here too, Sudden Chill obviously isn't going to do anything. Can go ahead, quest, or ink that, play that. I'm like, he's not going to have a hand, so Bucky can just clean take out the Merfolk. Not going to have to worry about that at all. He comes down with his second Bucky as well, or not Bucky, Diablo. And I was like, okay, so now here we can take out Diablo to prevent him from drawing too much. And there we could have taken out the other Ursula, which probably would have been smart because we'd survive it, and he'd still have to Diablo take us out if he wanted to prevent us from going any further. We now have double Robin Hood, so we're going to be able to make our opponent discard a card. Works out not taking out the Ursula because now we can go ahead and say, throw down Ursula, or throw down Robin Hood. Our opponent has to discard. Can challenge over the Ursula, gain the 2 lore. We can double sing the Storm, which effectively gets rid of Diablo. He will get 1 draw. And then I was like debating where you go with it. Like, we could have just took the 1 damage, put 2 on Rabbit. But at the same time, I we should have put 2 on Rabbit, I guess, right? If we're gonna come back and sing again, because then we could have sang there. We would have drew another card. Your opponent would have no board. They would have 1 extra card in hand right now. But again, with double Bucky on board, I'm not worried about my opponent's hand size, because if they're lucky, they play 2 of those cards, ink 1, have 1 in hand anyway. They lose it, so they'd only have 2 cards on board. Or no, they'd have 2 in hand because they would have drew off the Rabbit. So ink a card, play 2. Instead, they are going to be able to boost the Rabbit, which takes out the Ursula, but it's not that detrimental. Not worried about it whatsoever. We can come back with a Floodborn like our Tinkerbell, which will then finish off the Rabbit. The Crab is going to just kind of sit there and not get a whole lot of value. The Buckies are going to completely empty our opponent's hand. Gotta love the Cricky. Respect it. Let the Storm Rage on, sing that, remove the Crab completely. And then at that point, our opponent just admits defeat. So now we get to go against Mufasa. Our opening hand, again, pretty good. We have Robin Hood, we have Aladdin, we have Diablo, we have Pegasus, we have Storm with our Ursula. We're going second. We have some utility that we can use here for sure. I'm like, what do we want to truly keep though? I went with, in case we have to start dealing with their board, I prioritize the Robin Hood playline over the Pegasus playline. So naturally, we end up with neither. We hit another little Pegasus anyway. We did hit Grab Your Swords, not necessarily thinking it's going to be great. But we got our 1, 2, 3 with Robin Hood, Bucky, and Diablo. So Mini comes down, and I was kind of curious if he'd be on Teeth and Ambition. I think it's actually a pretty good card in any decks that can run it. Obviously, this being a deck, when you come out with like your Mini or in Ruby Amethyst, if they play the Olaf as well. So we play the Pegasus, throw down the Robin Hood, and then pass turn to see what our opponent decides to do. Obviously, we don't have Shift Robin Hood, so that's unfortunate, but our opponent does not know that. In this matchup, Grab Your Swords can actually be really good. So he does play the Teeth. Teeth takes out Robin Hood, which I'm okay with, because I'm like, now if we go Bucky Diablo, we're still sitting pretty good, right? So we ink a Bucky instead of that Ursula. That's not going to do anything, because that would have been smart. But anyway, Grab Your Swords can actually be really good in this matchup because of all his self-damaging cards, and then like Teeth and Ambition, because obviously now we're going to draw the Robin Hood, but they self-damage themselves. Then if you can get to your Grab Your Swords before they get to Rapunzel to be able to heal, you're just sitting in a pretty good spot. So we do throw down the Diablo with the Bucky there. He ends up discarding Gaston. Feeling pretty okay with where we're at though. 3 to 4 in hand. We got Diablo on board. We have Bucky established. We're getting hit by Teeth and Ambition again, so that's unfortunate. So we lose our Diablo. Makes sense why he hit the Robin Hood then, because he had 2 of them. In Quest of the Snow White, the Mulan comes down. Like I said, here now too, the Grab Your Swords just feels really strong, right? Like, there's a lot he can do with it. I did want to keep my strength in hand as well, though. I didn't want to just put it all out there. Rapunzel here would have been by far the worst thing that could happen, but at the end of the day, I'm like, if he has it, he has it. If he quested with the Snow White there, we would discard it with our Robin Hood shift play, and I think that's kind of what our opponent was expecting, so there was really no point for them to do it on this turn. So we can go ahead, shift Robin Hood. They're not going to be able to discard anything, but I was debating, do we just challenge and take one out? How did I want to effectively do it? I'm like, you know what, Grab Your Swords, puts the damage on Snow White, takes out the other 2, can probably go after that Gaston for when he quests with the Snow White. Robin Hood can then take out the Snow White. He does grab the Gaston. He then plays it. 1 in hand gets inked, because obviously we're just going to take it out. And I'm like, so we can go strength now. We have no way to get a 4th character down, but we take out the Snow White with Robin Hood. We can play strength. I actually opt to ink strength because, again, we can't take out the Gaston clean, and it works in our favor really well there because he does come back with a beast. So now we can go ahead and play that strength. We're going to sing it with the Robin Hood, take out the beast, and just get rid of that completely. Kind of dare him, like, go ahead, take out the Bucky. I felt like at this point it wasn't going to do a whole lot, especially because we have Bucky in hand. I did miscalculate a little bit here, but, you know, sometimes that happens. So play, heal, draw. So now here we can go ahead, go to 5, play the Bucky, and then here we could have shifted Robin Hood and made him discard a card, but I don't know if I really liked that play line. I mean, the downside here now is he has 2 cards in hand. Obviously, if he inks and then plays like a Medusa, I'm not in a good spot, right? So there's definitely cons to the way we played it. You could have shifted Robin Hood over Robin Hood. You'd just have the 3 damage, discard the last card in hand, and we'd be essentially sitting in a very similar spot. Now here we get a Chief Bogo, so it's like we can play the Robin Hoods, right, on the next turn and deal some damage that way. Our opponent gets another turn, so they're going to draw there. Snow White's going to quest here, grab a Mulan back, so they play Mulan. And at that point, I was kind of curious if they were going to shift Mulan because that's an odd card to grab from your discard. Could take out with the Julieta and the Gaston together to take out Robin Hood. But then when I play Robin Hood, he would lose both of them effectively, lose the Mulan unless he shifts. So I was feeling pretty good with where we were at. Inks the beast and then comes down with that shift Mulan. So again, I felt pretty okay with how things were. We do draw into a Bruno, which I was like, okay, that's actually pretty good. We play Robin Hood, deals 1 across the board. Then we sing the Bruno. I'm like 50-50 chance that we hit the good card. We hit the bad one, which again, that's okay. We can work with that. Quest to 15, and now we're sitting on enough for game. They ink Bare Necessities. We know that it's a Mulan in hand. We have 3 readied, so they'd have to take out Robin Hood plus Bogo for us to not lose, but he's only got, can't even read the Snow White, 6 total, and he needs 7 minimum, so we get the win. And then lastly, we have 1 replay against the other deck that is competing to be the best deck of the format. So going second this time against Red Blue, we draw Grab Your Swords, Ursula, Bucky, Pegasus, Storm, and Tinkerbell. Swords and Storm are going to be very less than ideal, especially early on here. Ursula's okay. Bucky's going to be really good. Tinkerbell, Pegasus, you know, I didn't want to keep the Pegasus because I needed to dig for that for my play lines. We end up hitting the Robin Hood play line, so that's good. We do hit little Pegasus too, but that didn't work out to where we need it. So we ink strength, play Robin Hood. We can come back with, say, Bucky. But on turn 3, we're going to go Aladdin because we want to be able to prevent their item plays sooner. I think that that's more important than going after the shift and discard. So we'll go Bucky here, come back with Aladdin. The only way we kind of get punished here would be by a rush character. As soon as they play the develop, we know that Goofy's out of the question. Hiram gets inked, which to me always kind of screams I have another Hiram. Or at that point, maybe he just knows we're going to come down with an Aladdin. Like, this card is so good in this matchup. You pretty much always want to prioritize your Aladdin over things like Diablo, over things like your shifts, because this card on turn 3 just feels so good. Brawl does come down and take care of our Robin Hood, which oddly enough I'm actually okay with. We're going to play our Ursula. We hit a song, and realistically he could have had 1 jump. He could have had the how far I'll go. So then we sing the sudden chill, hit the Sisu out of his hand, has Medusa still. We quested with the Bucky because we didn't expect that. Top deck into a Maui's pretty good, but we have Zeus so we can clear out the Maui, ink the Robin Hood, and then we're just going to quest. And next turn we can throw down Robin Hood and just kind of keep things going. Sisu comes down, can take out our Ursula, so we know what's still in his hand. At this point, though, I'm like, do we go Robin Hood now, or do we go for Pegasus? I was debating a little bit, and I was like, well, if he answers the Robin Hood with the Medusa, like we expect to happen, at least we draw a card. And Pegasus is evasive, so it could stick around a bit longer. We don't talk about Bruno, so we see the Sisu, and it's what do we hit? We hit the Medusa, so we know it's Sisu in hand. We quest with the Aladdin, we get rid of the ice block, and then we can go ahead and play the Pegasus. So we know Sisu in hand, which isn't going to do anything. One jump, also not going to be able to do anything. We draw into a Let the Storm Rage On. We're going to be able to go ahead and quest 12, and just kind of putting our opponent in that really awkward spot of what are you going to do to stop what we're doing. We go up to 17. Our opponent then has a chance to answer, but there's really nothing here that they can do. 17-1 is just way too oppressive and hard for them to come back from. So they do end up admitting defeat, which allows us to go ahead and take the win. That's pretty much how the deck functions, guys. I really do think this is the deck to beat. I don't see any reason that you would think it wouldn't be. Like, this deck is just so strong, and I'm just kind of curious to see what happens with it overall. Like I said, I think it's very, very strong. I think that it's the best deck. I think it answers just about everything while having consistency and board presence and hand control. And the deck is just, like I said, it's so almost just oppressive, and there's a reason that it is being as predominantly good as it is. And I also realized I didn't get rid of the gameplay, so you guys can't even see the screen, but there we go ahead. So here's the deck. It is a pricey deck. It comes in close to $600, and this is without Sad Beast. I don't play the card personally. We're running 15 uninkables, really heavy in our 3-drop slot. We taper out at 6 on the top end. Really happy with the deck, though. I don't know if there's anything I would change moving forward. We got 4 Pegasus, 4 Robin Hood in our ones. Obviously your 4 Buckies, your Ursulas. This list is probably pretty cookie cutter at this point. I think Chief Bogo is being played a bit more. Personally, I really liked it. I had it played against me one time, and I was just like, that could be interesting. The 4 willpower is really what sells it. Just a 2 of, though. I think anything more than 2 is too much commitment into that play line. Aladdin, again, pretty strong. Especially in that red-blue matchup and blue-steel even. Ursula, obviously, is going to be just stupid strong. Diablo is just broken. We're playing like all the money cards from set 3 and 4. Pegasus, just insane. This card is so good to be an uncommon. Robin Hood, also just really strong 4 of. Tinkerbell too. I love Tinkerbell this format. Like, I'm playing 4 Tinkerbell. That might be like the one thing that other people aren't doing. Between Tinkerbell and Bogo, though, just that, the complete board damage across the way is just really, really strong. Songs, and we're playing 19 of them. So 3 Sudden Chill, 3 Storm, 3 Raging Fire. We got 11 songs that Ursula can double sing. Kind of justifies playing her a bit more. It feels so good to hit Storm off of her. Strength can be a little odd, but that's why it's inkable. That's okay. We can go ahead and play 4 anyway. 2 Zeus. I don't want to go less than Zeus with this card. It really helps you deal with locations quick. It helps finish off, like, if a Maui comes down and takes out one of your characters, then you can just use Zeus to finish off the Maui without losing 1 or 2 more characters. We don't talk about Bruno. Really strong, especially once you empty their hand. And grab your swords at 3. I've been really liking. It's just one of those cards that, again, the mass damage across the board feels really, really strong this format. I think it's going to be interesting how Chicago plays out. I wish personally I could go. Somehow, some way, if I waitlist and get that attendee, we will be there Sunday. But I don't have high hopes for that. Just busy Saturday, so I didn't even really look into it until it's probably too late. But there's that chance, and I'm really excited. I'm thinking this format's actually going to be pretty good. It might not be quite as open as last format, and this deck may annoy some people. But overall, I do think it's going to be pretty fun. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment down below. More information on that case giveaway coming relatively soon. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.